You ever just not have a meal planned for that night? So you take that can of corn that's been in the pantry for months. You take that beef that's been in the fridge and it's going to go bad, so you got to use it. You cut up a couple potatoes. And you just kind of all throw it in a pan and hope for the best. Well, let's do that with the Assassin's Creed games. Hello, my name is Seth, and welcome to the Assassin's Bureau podcast. Today, we are going to do exactly as that great little intro I gave you suggested, just ripping apart the Assassin's Creed games, taking aspects of each one to make the ultimate Assassin's Creed game. Or maybe it's going to be awful. I might think it's great. You might think it's awful if you've played the games. But what I'll do is I'll tell you which part I'm going to take from what game. I can only use each game once. I will not use all of them because we only have a couple categories, which I'll go over in a minute. But I'll take something from each, and I'll try to explain my reasoning why I like it without showing you it. Because at the end of the day, this is a podcast. You don't get to see videos. I don't feel like editing that. So you just get to hear my voice. So what we'll do is we'll take one game and we'll just take this category from it. Customization. You know, how do you update your weapons? How do you update your outfit, your armor? Is your outfit separate from your armor? Does your armor matter? How does it work? We'll take that from one game. Stealth. We'll take that from another game. How do you move around without being detected? Kind of self-explanatory there. Combat. You know, do we go with one of the RPG games? Do we go with one of the older games? Do we go with the weird middle childs that are Unity and Syndicate? Who knows? I'll tell you in a minute. Character. What kind of character do we want? Do we want someone who's exactly like Ezio but in a different setting? Do we want an Edward? Do we want a lovesick Arno from Unity? And then we're going to choose our setting. Now, I originally thought about like mix and matching. Oh, I pick a time period from one game and I pick the city from another. But no, what we're going to do is we're just going to pick a city and time period. We'll revisit it. Hopefully, something else was going on in this hypothetical Assassin's Creed game. I kind of doubt it, though, because they already pack a lot of action into one that's almost unbelievable. So why would there be two action-packed things at the same time in the same exact city? But hey, this is my delusions. No one can mess with my delusions. And then lastly, we go with what makes the game, the parkour. After all, you can't have an open world parkour game without good parkour. Come on. So what we're going to start off with is customization. And I'm actually going to do one pick that I know is going to be controversial. I'm going to go with Unity for the customization. I know a lot of people say Unity has some of the best parkour in the series. And it does, if you can get it to work. I think the game's too janky to reliably get the parkour to look good and to feel good. Or maybe I'm just bad. My friends do tell me quite often I'm bad at video games. But no, I think the parkour in Unity is too unreliable. But I also think the customization in it's just so great. It takes my favorite things. Like, I love the customization in the RPG games. Being able to choose your helmet, your shirt, your pants, your weapons themselves. I just love that. But they feel too grindy. Unity is that great middle, you know? You can choose your hood, your robes, your pants, your gauntlets. You can choose a melee weapon. You can choose a pistol. Or you can choose a rifle. The rifle actually doesn't matter, though. It has the same range of a pistol and the same power as the upper ones. But we don't talk about that. But no, and then the customization is just on par. You can choose every part of your outfit, like I just said, while also it doesn't take that much to upgrade. There are only 5 tiers, and you can upgrade each tier only once. Every time I replay Unity, by going in and clearing my data on the Xbox for the game and just hopping in, the first thing I do is just grind out the cafe missions to get that easy money. And then I just kind of sit there racking up the money in the cafe. And I buy the max level armor off the get-go. And it just keeps me set all game long. I love the customization in Unity. I love how it doesn't feel grindy while still feeling more customizable than earlier games where You can upgrade your weapons, sure, and you can upgrade your armor, but it doesn't really do that much for you visually. So I love the customization in Unity, so I got to make that as my pick. That means Unity is off the board. I can no longer choose it. What do we go with next? So we're going to just move right on to stealth. And I will be honest with you, I'm not the person to ask for this category. I'm not good at stealth. Kind of funny considering my favorite game series is Assassin's Creed. Wow. Who would have guessed considering I'm making a YouTube podcast about it? But no, I'm not good at stealth. I'm more of a just go in, hope you don't get caught, and hope for the best. I can't actually think out stealth. But there is one game where I found myself genuinely enjoying the stealth. Unity. I'm kidding. I do like Unity stealth, but that's off the board. No, what we're going to go with is Mirage. I love the tools in it for stealth. Now, this actually brings up a good debate. Is the upgrades you can do to your tools, is that considered stealth? Or is that considered customization? I don't know which category it falls into, but I get to make the rules because this is my podcast, so we're going to consider it stealth. But no, you can upgrade a blow dart. Do you want it to be the berserk darts or do you want it to be sleep darts? You can choose either one. Smoke bombs. You want it to be flammable and just be a little pyromaniac you? Yeah, I do actually. I love flammable things. So let's do that. And then they have the trip mine things. I didn't know they had those in Baghdad. I must not know my Baghdad history. And then you even have like throwing knives. I love the stealth in it, and it's one of the games where you actually get to crouch. Took them a while to come up with that, actually. It's kind of surprising. But I found myself genuinely enjoying the stealth in Mirage. Okay? I would be perfectly okay not having Assassin's Focus, though. But if you consider that stealth, we'll keep it, I guess. Just because you don't have to use it. But yeah, for stealth, I would go with Mirage. Just because I genuinely love the stealth in that game. But when stealth fails, sometimes you gotta get your hands dirty. And for that, I am going with Valhalla's combat. Mainly because it is actually some of the best combat I think we have. It leans heavily into RPGs. And if you don't like that, you're not gonna like its combat. And I'm sorry about that. But I like the RPG combat. Am I good at it? That's up for debate. You ask people who watch me play, they'll tell you I am not. I take insult to that. I think I'm average. But that's a story for another day. No, I love the RPG combat, and I feel like Valhalla is the best of that. You know? Each weapon feels unique, and that goes for all of the games. But in Valhalla, they each feel distinctively unique. And honestly, the weak points with the arrows, that's just a great idea to have. And I love that. I love having the weak points to hit because it makes sense. You know, you hit me in my arm, I'm not going to be able to use my bow as much. That opens me up to easily be stun attacked if I'm an archer firing at our little assassin dude. Although in this case it's a Viking. I don't want to talk about it, okay? So, but no, I just love the weak points. I love how each weapon feels distinct. And then there's also dismemberment. First game we see that in. You know, it's interesting. Go ahead, chop off heads, chop off arms. You know, just roll that head. But if you don't like dismemberment, or you know, you're a 12-year-old playing this and your parents don't want you to see heads roll, you can turn it off with ease. So I kind of like that aspect of it, just because these weapons are sharp, man. I don't think, you know, I could do some of the moves I do as Edward and your head would not come off or your arm wouldn't come off. You know, the dismemberment, it makes sense, and it's not overly graphic. You know, it doesn't make it a point to show you. It's just kind of something that, oh, when you notice it, you'll notice. But, you know, I love the combat. You know, I love each weapon feels unique. Weak points. And then dismemberment's a plus. And I'm just realizing I'm sounding insane saying that, so let's quickly move on. Alright, for a character, we're going Black Flag. We're taking Edward. My first ever Assassin's Creed game was Black Flag. My brother got it as a game with gold, and I watched him play, because, you know, I was like 9, 10 at the time, and at the time my parents actually, They thought if I played a violent game, I would turn out to be an awful person for whatever reason. So now I had to wait till I was 12 to play it. But I remember being so enamored watching my brothers play it. Because, watching them play, that's A-okay. Playing it yourself, no go, buddy. But, I digress. But watching them play, I remember being so enamored with it. And I just love Edward's character arc. He starts as just this egotistical dude. He thinks he's better than everyone else, or at least that's the mask he puts on. Because, his flashbacks or the novelization of it. Yeah, I read, get with it. But no, through those expandatory things such as the novels and the flashbacks, we learn that he honestly got into privateering and then piracy just to make money. He didn't get paid what he thought he should because he didn't get paid much at all beforehand. So he got into privateering and later piracy to earn a fortune for him and his family. So, either way, we see this man who constantly is trying to make a quick buck. And he constantly will get in fights, thinking he's better than everyone else. Then he goes into, after selling out the assassins, becoming this humble man who just, he goes from being that arrogant boy to being a good father, and it's just, we see that shift, and it's beautifully written, and I still tear up at the end of Black Flag when that ship comes into harbor with his daughter, just seeing how everyone Edward cared about died, other than his daughter, who we didn't know about, and just seeing the change in him, because when those characters died, he was a little shaken up, but other than Thatch and Mary, he didn't really care that much. Like, at least he didn't show it. But now, all those people who died, it shows that they made him better in their death. And, I love that character arc, and we gotta have it. So, you know what? We can't name him Edward, so I say we just call him Ed. It's not short for Edward. No, 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 no. Our character in our fantasy Assassin's Creed game, he's just Ed. Because that's totally different. All right, we got a good build so far. Let's round it out with the setting and time period. Now, I actually debated between three. I was even going to go with the American Revolution in AC3, the Peloponnesian War in Odyssey, but what I'm actually going to go with, and you might call this cheating, is the side game that is Assassin's Creed Chronicles Russia. I would love to see a full-fledged game set during the Russian Revolution. And, if we could keep that Russian propaganda art style, I'd love it. But no, just like in that Russian setting during the revolution, it's just so interesting to me. I like revolutions. If you've watched previous episodes, you heard me gush about the American Revolution and the what if that is the AC3 DLC. But I just love revolutions. And the Russian Revolution's quite interesting, and I would love a full-fledged game for it. So I'm going to go for that side game. But if you don't like that pick of Assassin's Creed Chronicles Russia, I'd go with AC3 and the American Revolution. Just feature Hamilton a little more prominently. Come on, the man has a musical now. You got to feature him somewhat. So that is our freak of nature Assassin's Creed game that, let's be honest, it's never going to see the light of day, nor should it. That is a Frankenstein's monster, and I do not want to give that thing life. I saw how that ended up for Frankenstein. So what we're going to do is we're just going to leave that on the shelf and only have that in my dreams. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for listening to my beautiful, not at all annoying voice. Have a good one.